So Luke and I decided to help us come down from our presidential high. We'd create sort of a little buffer into Women's History Month via the First Ladies.
Yes, all the men got all the love this month, so we
Yes.
had to change it up a little bit and
Yes.
expand our subject matter just a touch to talk about the women behind the men who we obsess over. And of course, this is not our area of expertise. We are president lovers. We're not first lady historians, even though that's a very excellent subfield of history.
Absolutely.
Which we love.
They have the ability to really enhance the office of president, or they can really make things way harder. And what's interesting about the role of first lady is, I think even more so than the role of president, it has changed dramatically over the centuries.
Yeah.
When it begins, first of all, the term doesn't even exist for Martha Washington. I forget what she's called. She has some kind of weird, like, I almost said Mrs. America. I have a cold. I'm really out of it.
Hostess of the nation.
The mostest. Anyway.
Executive hostess.
But that's exactly right, Luke. The first lady is meant to be the hostess of the executive mansion of the White House.
Chief cake cutter.
Yes. And at times, depending on the person, somewhat of a fashion icon. But her job is essentially the very sexist notion of her job is the house. Okay.
Right.
Her job is to prop up her husband and make him seem fantastic and take good care of the house as long as she's living in it, and, be a good role model to other women, personify the ideal woman of the day. Right?
Yes.
So
paragon of womanhood.
Absolutely. So to me, Luke, I actually look at the first women before Eleanor Roosevelt and after Eleanor Roosevelt, because I think everyone agrees that she is exceptional in this list of women. You know, she changes it dramatically. First of all, them as a couple, they change the game dramatically. But prior to Eleanor, it really is that much more women's place is in the White House, and they're not going around the country and doing all this, extra work. There are no initiatives that are specifically by the first ladies. But even so, we can look at some of the earlier first ladies and be impressed by some of the things that they did.
Right. So going off of our trial and error with the hottest presidents, we tried to really think about some bona fide and legit lists. Let's find the best list. So we landed on the Siena College poll, which puts together their rankings every couple of years. And so they have a really impressive criteria that they use to measure greatness in first ladies.
I really liked it. Yeah.
It's amazing, these categories, just like looking at this ridiculous chart we have here. Everything from value to the president, public opinion, public image, courage, which I love, accomplishments, being their own woman. And so, of course, like a lot of these, this is a numerical, like, if I was still in college, like, running an SPSS like data set on, this is what it is. So, all these scorings and rankings, so it's like 20 categories at least. And they rank everybody based on those categories from soup to nuts. Number 5 is Michelle Obama in 2014, which is pretty remarkable considering that she was still in the White House at this time.
Yeah, I mean, they were calling it a little early. And it could just be that's who was in the most recent memory.
Yeah.
But
she's an arm's length ahead of everybody else, okay? Very fit arm ahead.
That's so, I wouldn't listen. She probably threatened some people that she was going to kick their ass.
She really has quite a span, as a first lady.
She does. First of all, you want to talk about like role model and iconic. She I would give anything for her arms, first of all. Second of all, always looked phenomenal, always put together.
Yes.
Like class act. And like seems like someone you would actually enjoy spending time with. Very amiable, and she seems funny, and she also seems like she cares deeply for both Barack and her children, and she is fulfilling that role of being a good wife and mother to her actual family, in addition to trying to take care of the nation and like have that sense of, I need to have a purpose in this job. I'm not just like here as arm candy or whatever. And that comes from her education. She's a brilliant woman.
Yeah, she has a law degree. She wasn't going to be like, sitting on the sidelines. She's very not unlike Hillary Clinton, a woman in their own right, very established, very career driven. But you're absolutely right. So real in terms of just feeling like a really relatable person. And because Obama himself is not the most relatable in terms of he's a little effete, he's a little removed, he's a little very polished and very measured. Michelle is like
more so than her. Real. Yeah.
Oh,
no, that's a good point, Luke.
Michelle gives it to you 1,000% real. And, you needed someone to kind of temper the image of this like perfect scholarly icon.
Yeah.
Like we talked about in previous episodes, the black president who could not put a foot wrong. She was the one who had the most personality in that dynamic. And she was just like, yeah, I'm not working this job, 9 to 5. I'm like, making a house for the kids, and I'm looking out for what my daughters are doing more so than, what he's doing. And I would say the post presidency, her star has soared even higher.
Oh yeah, for sure. And what I like about her too is I think he is the most himself when they're interacting together in front of the public. It's very rare, I think, in the decades since we've had television and been able, or like video, and been able to see how the presidents and their wives interact together. They seem genuinely in love and have appear, and it's just outward appearances, right? But it appears that they have a great marriage, that it's a real partnership, and yeah, like they're cute. They're very cute together. I like them as a couple, if that makes sense.
No, they seem like complimentary. They seem like real people too. Like to your point, like I know there's a lot of love for Laura Bush out there.
I know.
Take. I find Laura Bush a little robotic.
She is. Yeah.
She's just like a little bit of an automaton Stepford wife. People like love Laura Bush, and I'm like, I get that. She is pretty and she is lovely.
Oh, she's lovely. Yeah.
A serviceable first lady, like a silver plate in an era of awful, but like, nothing to write home about. I would say Barbara Bush brought a lot more personality, and she probably was a lot more polarizing, Barbara Bush.
Sure. Yes.
Laura was very just like, I'm not going to offend anybody. I'm going to say nothing,
which is an approach
but
to
she likes books. She likes books. I mean, like that.
I'm gonna give her. Well, I'll give her that. What do you think of Michelle's initiative? She had the let's get moving.
Let's get moving. Yeah, I hate all of the first lady initiatives equally. They're all really dumb and a waste of time, in my opinion. I mean the let's get moving. It fits for her. It fits for her.
Specifically these modern stupid catchphrase ones versus things that they championed in their
this whole thing of like, let's move, let's eat, let's count calories, let's read books, whatever it is.
We're like fighting childhood obesity. That's what Michelle was all about.
Yeah, it's a kid show,
What's interesting is it was something that people were really excited about at the time, but it's interesting, like as a society, we're in this new like stop fat shaming era. So I don't think she could have that initiative now, even though obviously people care about childhood obesity. It's a big fucking deal. But I think the language and what she wanted to do, it would have to be way more body positive, I think.
I think that's an interesting point you raised. And, part of the let's get moving could have very well, even though it was not that long after, it just smacks of like 1993 to me. Like, let's get moving. It's just a very much like, move your heart for health. Like, I guess I'm just a really embittered, inactive person. And I'm really just annoyed with people telling me how active I should be.
Tell me to move.
Don't you dare tell me to shift it. So
You shipped it.
you
Oh, you
shift
do
it.
with your amazing arms.
Big fan, and she gets even better after she leaves office. People want her to be president now. She's got her authentic real hair now. No more wigs. I mean, she's killing it.
She's
Killing it.
amazing. Yeah, love
She
her.
is. Rock star.
This is shocking to me that who the next person is.
It's a big deal.
It's Dolly Madison.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
why?
Who would have known that saving that painting of George Washington would net her like an almost unbeatable position in the pantheon of first ladies for so long? Because that to me is clearly where this ranking is stacked.
Because I look at this list and there are women who are so low, who, in my opinion, should not be so low. Dolly Madison, for those that maybe don't know, her biggest claims to fame are she was an exceptionally good hostess, which again,
Yes.
if you're going by literally what the title of the job is, it sounds like she was probably one of the best.
Yeah.
Famous for ice cream.
That's true. That's true.
Yep, she was the first one to serve ice cream at the White House, which is why there's a Dolly Madison ice cream. And then, during the War of 1812, as we know, there was an attack on the White House at the time, and she went out of her way to try to save the precious relics that existed within the walls. And she's given so much credit for having this forethought to know this stuff is far too valuable to just let it go down with the ship. But that's really giving her a lot of credit.
It's giving her a lot of credit. I'm just looking at her like value to the country. She is above a 4, which is just, I mean, I could
We would have gotten
see,
on without the paintings, guys.
We could have gotten on the painting, but I think it was the story of the painting and the fact that she, and like, again, we think of like, she saved it. Like it was a big ass painting. And shows that she commanded that it be removed by somebody else.
Slaves,
like, let's be honest.
Probably.
Yeah.
Slaves.
It's a mythic story. It's true in that we have a painting that survived from the White House when it was burned in the War of 1812. Yeah. But it's almost just like the legend of Dolly Madison is winning her so many points across the board, which is just staggering thinking about how many other good competitors she's got.
I know.
It is shocking. It is shocking.
Yeah. Like it's really crazy to me. We'll go through the rest of them and then I'll talk about who I think should have been further up. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about her. Because honestly, there's nothing.
No, there's not much on Dolly. She's we don't have much on Dolly. So yeah, next up is Jackie O.
Yeah, she's also kind of high.
A high for 1,000 days.
1,000 days. Also, she does again, like Dolly, fulfill that role, right? Of being the perfect hostess. And I mean, probably the greatest fashion icon of any first lady ever.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
Because she was also young and sexy and really vivacious. And them together looked so gorgeous, right? They looked like a perfect pairing, even though their marriage was a mess.
Suspect. Yeah. And it was always like, oh, he is so lovely. And what a beautiful wife, which is such a terrible way to put it. But it was this image, getting think about who was in there before her, Mamie Eisenhower. Like, God love you, honey, but you're not doing any
Eleanor.
favors with those curls. Yeah. I mean, Eleanor's more of a career lady. She's like a mother of the nation. This is like the hot young daughter of the nation, Miss Jackie.
She's not my kind of people.
Right.
She's very, very posh and upper crust and
top drawer.
She's top drawer. She's not super relatable for me.
No.
Like some of the other first.
She's a horsewoman, for God's sakes.
For fuck's sake. She had a pony as a kid. I can't relate to anyone who had a pony as a kid in the last several decades. But yes, what she did with the White House, she did a beautiful job, but she did perform the duties in the most basic sexist terms possible during like the dawn of women's lib, that she was the most not that.